There, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Mr. Dogbout333, and welcome back to Return 4, New Order Last Days of Europe as Guangdong. In the last video, we finished up our misadventures in Indonesia, and Hitachi decided to especially start fucking us. I fucking hate Hitachi. The magic wands are cool. I like what the ladies do with them. But other than that, they can fuck off. This is very aggressive so far. It's probably going to get this video demonetized because I'm cursing along the first couple seconds. But I don't care. I hate these guys. Let it be clear. Their influence is growing, but the conspiracy is still eluding us. So we have options, at least at some points, to try to diminish their influence. But it's situational when we get to do it. How much do we need to... I forget how much we need to get our GDP up. I was going to try to remember that. It doesn't matter too much. We're still holding out okay seat-wise. We've got 40 seats compared to, which is a good majority ahead of everyone else. Didn't want to be king of clan. Steal the one. Patent. True. We're also working off on selling the rest of Matsushita's assets. We're not going as greedy as we could. So hopefully this will end up playing out in our favor. Sell, sell, sell. Oh, what the shit? A detrimental failure? How? How? Detrimental. This is a load of malarkey, if you ask me. I don't understand. How does... I saw someone on Reddit suggest I was related to, I heard someone said it's suggested that it has to do with seats in the... I don't understand. What happened? Okay, I'm gonna load the autosave. Yep. Gonna lose a little bit of progress, but I think we'll hold off on that and do something else. I try to take a step forward. What happened? We did the sell, sell, sell option of selling the assets. I don't know how the RNG on this works, but by the focuses, you can choose to either benefit yourself more in theory, but risk it not working out there, or picking the safer options. I did a safe and an unsafe option. We sold. It turned out to be a horrible failure. I don't know how that works or how it happens. There's not a pop-up or anything. Honestly, kind of seems to be a little BS on that. I don't know if it's BS. Okay, I'm going to reload the autosave, play it back out, and see if something different happens. If it's RNG or something, I do not know. Because I was looking at the Reddit. Someone, they picked a safe and an unsafe. I saw people saying they did safe and unsafe, and they did fine. Because I'm trying to get a Matsushita W, because we don't have too many right now working in our favor. And so I'm just trying to get that figured out. This is going to be a very experimental video. I don't understand. Fighting Hitachi. If we sell, what's going to happen? Still going to be a colossal failure? Detrimental failure. I don't know how that works. This is confusing to me. I don't know what we could have done better. Is it the specific option? Or how we specifically approached it? I don't know. For now, I'm gonna assume that it's based off of seats, because I saw someone theorizing that on the YouTube or the Reddit. So, yeah. All right, wait for now. We'll do something else for now. We'll lose a few days of progress, which is unfortunate, but a little bit of dead time. Possibly. I don't want to cheat. I don't know, man. Could update our surveillance. I'll change next generation. The wave of men in police force are the embodiment of neglectful rule of our predecessors. Brimming with corruption and decadence, incapable of performing its duty with efficacy. The next generation of police force shall not and will not be condemned to the same state as the previous generation. It must be guaranteed that they are to be competent and skillful, vigorous, and productive. The necessary preparation arrangements to ensure that this are to be laid. Various examinations drills shall be performed on a weekly basis to harden their spirits. They shall be proponents of a well-oiled machine, a machine that keeps residents of state manageable and allows Guangdong to continue flourishing. Actually, Kev, could you check and see if there's a command to increase seats? Because I want to test the theory real quick. Because some people were saying that it was, some people were saying it's based on the number of seats, so I do want to test that out. before the autosave goes through. Complete chaos, sir. 27 different aircraft have requested emergency landing, all of them tagged from Manchuria. First arrived in 14 minutes, last in only 47. Air traffic controller Yang Yi Chen stood up from his desk, his voice failing him as he spilled his coffee. Send for her. Fuck, I'll have all outgoing flights canceled now. Get the police, we're gonna need them around. His deputy took in all the information and walked out by the tower's control floor. The news did not get over well, judging by the panic sounds amongst the controllers. He'd have to join them and helped out with the workload. Less than 5 minutes later, a detachment of armored cars screeched to a stop outside the terminals, even as Yang had barely gotten out of the air traffic control team. Uniformed men marched into the control room as they were across from the rest of the airport, calming everyone down by the visible show of force. The captain introduced him to Yang, revealing himself to be the head of the Kenpai Tai Regiment in Koshu, just close enough to hear the call for police reinforcements. We'll be taking control here. Special orders of the government. All these flights are to be taken in. And here's the runway. Have a runway cleared off, and all the flights canceled. We're going to be here a while. I've already canceled all flights, sir. Captain smiled. Good man. Order restored? I don't know. You found this. What did you find, good sir? Because I might go ahead. Look at the auction, Matsushita auction. Current ordinances votes. That's not seats, though. That's kind of... That's votes for the ordinances. So if I want to pass an ordinance, I can use that. But that's not quite what I was looking for, which is okay. And we'll survive, but... yeah. Let's go ahead and, let's work on the economic stuff for now. Polish each pearl. 3 pearls are Guangdong's largest cities, and its most important cities, too. Centers of industry, finance, and luxury for the Japanese. The 3 pearls, Hong Kong, Macau, and the capital, Koshu. However, as prosperous as our cities are, Matsushita sees that their glory could be taken to greater heights than ever before. Matsushita has a plan, develop it, and specialize the pearls. Koshu's factories will be grown to twice their size, and turn the capital and center of manufacturing that could rival 5 cities. Hong Kong will be made into a hotbed of bureaucracy and financial planning, transforming it into Guangdong's nerve center. And Macau, with its luxury casinos and hotels, will become the Las Vegas of Go Prosperity Sphere, a businessman's paradise, a gambling oasis of likes of which have never been seen. That is a very... That's an interesting one. I'll keep that one in mind. Work had been tough for Lam Hao Kyun, as it always has been, but the last few weeks had often had been beyond what he had gradually grown accustomed to. Lam oftentimes found himself missing the old colleagues, those who had been less fortunate during the chief executive's clearing out of lower ranks. May not have been skilled officers, but they had gained Lam's trust. The precious few allies he had on the hostile streets were gone. His life was all the more dangerous for it. Those few who had survived the cut, however, had never been more motivated. Perhaps it was a relieved sense of duty or his own talented example which drove them. More likely, Lam thought, it was the regular pay that they now received. Even the strictest requirements could be softened by a good income. Every man has a price, etc. Lam coaxed his wandering conscience back to reality as he heard one of his men call out to him from around the corner. Hakyung! Reports have arrived from the executive. Additional officers will be dispatched to our squad shortly. Great. We can all have them write tickets. Lam replied half-jokingly. The quality of fresh officers was always questionable. Okay. I think I understand what you're talking about, Kev, now. The man let out a short laugh and sharply turned his back on the brief exchange before tending to his other duties. Lam followed suit, knowing he would be needed back on the street soon enough. Yet a disquiet lingered in his mind, since the force was desperate for any form of relief. But the record of the executive on such matters had always been weak. Officer Lam feared the worst for him and his colleagues. These fears soon drifted away on the glowing ember of his freshly lit cigarette. Time would tell, and the rough work would continue. Hitachi's influence is growing. There we go, great. Alright, more product stuff. Who do we want to trade with? Trade with the Brazilians before. We could sell the Mexicans, the Iberians, Italians. The Chileans, maybe. The Argentines. Let's go for the Iberians. Product quality. Product interest. We can afford to piss off the Japanese expats, I think. Yeah. Japanese approval is, eh. Purge corrupt officials. I think I'll do that. Do the same with finances. There's also this. Let's see what we got, Kev. Hire more skilled engineers. Hold a press conference. Lose union support. Okay. Here we go. Smoke listed drifted around Officer Lamb as he reclined back into the tough and leather embrace of his lounge chair. Finally back in the safety of his own home, he decided to take advantage of a never elusive opportunity to rest his weary body. Lamb had longed hope for a time when he'd be able to rest long enough to permanently soothe the aches and pains that had constantly riddled his body. And even after a day, he was sure that such a day was as intangible as ever. His task had been to oversee the taking in of a new batch of recruits into the Guangdong police force. It was an undertaking he was more than happy to see through. And although he doubted the chief executive cared much, if at all, for the well-being of his officers on the ground, Lamb was somewhat appreciative of his provision for additional manpower, limited as it was. New standards, 6 years of schooling, with basic literacy and maths, alongside language expertise, were too high for many potential recruits. Despairingly few of those who Lamb had met that day even came close to fulfilling them. This emerging quota would not change much. Officer Lamb recognized his former self in the fresh faces of those young men. He foresaw the same painful years of training on the job. The wounds, the pain, the regret, like punching hot ash with bare fists, yet their skin to toughen over time. If his experience could be taught from the start, then the pressure on the police would be released, perhaps permanently. However, these reinforcements would not arrive for some time yet. In the meantime, the soreness Lamb felt would persist and his burden would not be shifted. Still no end in sight. 19, okay. Oh boy. Downsides the Hitachi. This seems like it's going to be a pretty big changing point right here. I gotta save the game. In the dim light of his office, Chief Executive Matsushita Masaharu leered at the documents that lined his desk. The burden of proof was such a powerful thing, wasn't it? High-definition scenes of Kenpai squads, intimidating airport staff, and Manchurian-linked cargo planes played across his mind. Why? Why would Hitachi try to pull off a scheme this large? They seemed to operate just fine under his rule, just as we did in Manchukuo. Was somehow Manchukuo making Hitachi do this for some reason? Were they on the brink? The worst, increasingly most likely option for the Kenpai and Hitachi's escalation crossed the chief executive's mind. Of course it did, try as he might to dismiss it. The reason that everything was unfolding now was because all of Hitachi's pieces were in place. All they needed was a coup de grace. Shaking away the thought, Matsushita read on, meaningless, jargon coalesced into dread-instilling anecdotes and reports. At the end, the police commissioner had written the report, recommended 4 courses of action to deal with power of play. The first was to reckon of the garrisons in the Kenpai directly and bring them into the cold daylight. The second was to send out a feeler for contact within the Manchurian government and see whether they understand what's going on in Guangdong. The third and fourth option was to try to get either Tokyo or Nanjing for help. While banking on their support was a risky move, both nations had the power to move things their way and help fully understand what's going on under their nose. There was a fifth option, not stated in the report. There always is another option. If they get the right leads, twist the right arms, and disappear the right people, perhaps we could do it ourselves. After all, it was Guangdong with the China monument of the doing-it-yourself mentality. God, what do we do here? This is rough. I mean, our approval and Japan is meh. Yeah, the game likes to fuck me, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. We got police control in just about all these regions. Not quite Choshu, but that's only Yakuza. Already Yakuza base here. Shit. I think our police might be okay. I hope our police might be okay. God, that's a rough thing, isn't it? Oh man, this is rough. Push the product launch forward a little bit. We'll sacrifice research and development. Test a product. Prepare an ad campaign. Fuck me. They have the dart gun. Our lads will be grand. True. Oh, God. Oh, this is rough. This is really rough. The harsh light interrogation room cast long shadows of a detective reclined back in his chair, as if he was meeting an old friend at a rundown cafe that he used to go to his children. Opposite him, the suspect also sat back in his chair. His face was dotted and dashed with cuts, scrapes, and bruises, each the product of another minute of silence against the interrogators. Fine. What the hammer could not do, the scalpel must accomplish instead. Yamanaka now. 46 years old. Even with love taps, he still don't look a day over 18. How do you manage it? If you come here to threaten me or peel my fingernails off again, then you're a fool. I was in the Kenpai Tai when I was a younger man. You don't think I saw exactly what my superiors did to those who did not cooperate? What you did to me, it's what we do to those who we granted mercy. Yamanaka gave a bloody grin, showing to the detective just exactly what teeth his subordinates had deemed wise to apply impromptu industry. Oh! I didn't realize we had a veteran in our esteemed workplace. I will cut to the chase now. By the end of the hour, I need a list of contacts within the Kenpai Tai, and I realize it's sometimes so hard to leave a good job behind. Exactly what they're doing, what Spineless Swarms and the LC did, they bribe, and what they're planning. Do that, and you'll have my assurance. I'm not afraid to die, detective. No, not afraid to die in pain, not afraid to die poor, and certainly not afraid to die knowing I protect my comrades. So why did I do that? The room was silent. The detective's face fell from a look of mock charm, and the mask came off. Replaced with a look of stony indifference, the detective carefully lifted a series of photographs depicting a younger woman and a baby inside a stroller. He put them onto the table and turned each around to face the suspect, who involuntarily gave a small gasp. It's a shame what this war against crime does, no? So many unnecessary casualties. Ooh, this is good. We're threatening his family. Fuck yeah. We have 43 seats. That's actually very nice. Uh-oh. Give me a line of Tokyo now. For the moment, Shots were fired. Reported in western Guizhou, Guangdong fell into shock. Reports came flooding in through the day as a host of intelligence agencies and local administrators attempted to cobble together a timeline and plan of action. By the time it landed on Masaharu's desk, the report had grown into a mess, full of enough retractions and updates to strain the middle envelope it came in. Still, the basics were clear. Long Yun, China's warlord, once reduced to playing second fiddle to his cousin's government, had reinstated himself and began a campaign to remove China from the spear by force with the help of allied anti-Japanese armies in the west. Now, just a few hours away from Guangdong, a rebellious army threatened to destroy the stability of the entire Chinese region. Despite himself, Masaharu could not help but feel the weight of the threat. Yet his options were limited. PT Group and the IJ garrison needed to stay at home in case the war worsened. Wars to note from Chinese government had been trucked into an envelope ordering Guangdong not to assist directly lest Nanjing be legitimized further. For now, the chief executive would have to wait, stick to putting out fires at home. It would be enough to challenge alone. Investors, the IJA corporations, all would be on high alert so long as the war roared. Until the war's end, every man and woman in Guangdong would see a plain truth. A violent end of a corporate experiment lay just around the corner. We stand inches from a fire and cannot put it out. God, that's rough. Low product interest, mid in quality. Or that increase influence in Shokai. I don't think I want to do that. Although, something up the interest would be nice. Might just wait for some of these to reset, maybe. I don't want to... I'll suppress a little bit of negative press. Previously, we could only make assumptions about the Kenpai Tai's connections being sent to the warehouse. We know they're connected somehow. We didn't know who and to what they were doing. Yet, Chief Executive, the police report underlines clearly what's happening. Police Commissioner Kuniyasu, sitting opposite Chief Executive, thumbed through the report. Hitachi middle management caught inside a warehouse, tried to take an officer hostage in exchange for clear passage. Dead? You couldn't get him alive? He could have been great use to us. We believe, based off the information we have, that the employee was seen as a sort of observer from Hitachi to oversee the operation. Appears to have executed our police officers, so our men opened fire to prevent more casualties. Turned out the officer was unharmed, and the employee merely staged it to look like he'd been shot. We don't know why, but our leading theory is that he wanted to prevent his relatives in Koshu from being affected by the treachery. He took the easy way out. Fool. Masaharu mumbled before raising his voice once more. No matter, it's damning enough! Damning enough to know that I'm not being paranoid anymore. Tachi and the Kenpai Tai and God knows who else are in league with each other to undermine me. Looking what they've done, it seems they're getting their sandals wet from crossing the Rubicon. Reads like a coup plot. The plotters pose a real threat to the security of Guangdong, yes. Time is of the urgency. They must be stopped, Chief Executive. The Commissioner straightened his back, ready to receive the orders for a complete crackdown. Regardless, a violent purge of those unsavory individuals will only make us look weak, incompetent, unworthy of sovereignty, perhaps. Diplomatic ramifications of such endeavor would most likely get us replaced, regardless. Chief Executive, what do you propose we do? I'm gonna have a chat with the Kenpai Tai. While I'm at it, can someone get me the number for the Japanese Consul General? Oh, shit. Got free production units. Can work on civi factories. I think I was telling Kev this chat this a little bit. This was neutral ground. The most powerful people in Guangdong locked themselves in a room booked in some nameless high-rise spire, aiming to dominate the Koshu skyline. Gathered Circle, Masaharu, Colonel Miyazaki of Kenpai Tai, General Naganobu IJ, and Japanese Consul General Takashima clutch a police report copy. Chief Executive and Colonel Miyazaki were placed opposite each other, spending their time staring daggers at each other. The clash of wills. His report is certainly thorough, Chief Executive, Miyazaki spoke, choosing his words with extreme care. But meaningless. Most of this is circumstantial evidence. I think you'll find what we've gone above and beyond mere circumstantial, Colonel. This report is 200 pages long. You read it all now. We have the photos, fingerprints, and testimony. I would not call that meaningless. Wouldn't you, Chief Executive? Colonel Miyazaki returned with a volley of his own, turned towards the two neutral arguers. Consul General Nagano, you must see that this is a waste of time. Kenpai Tai has been a force of security and co-prosperity for nearly 20 years in the Pearl River Delta. That we could be in league with Manchuria to create some fiefdom, it's insane. Insane! Chief Executive prepared his final offense to finish Miyazaki. It would be quick, clean, and brutal. Exactly what they pride themselves on. What's insane is that your agents continuing to blockade the largest airport in Guangdong and flagging out enough! Both of you. Consul General slammed the report down on the conference table. Now that you seem willing to have a rational conversation, so it seems I must step in. You're like bickering children. Continue to plot and scheme around each other, then my next report to Tokyo will go into lurid detail and ask them to find what exactly the Kenpai Tai are doing here and how it came to that. Do you want that? The room turned to silence. General Nagano cleared his throat and stood up. This war of yours will come to an end, or I will end it for you. Uh-oh. Well, whew. Tense shit. Somehow base Kenpai Tai moment. I mean, a broken clock has to be based twice a day. That's all I'm saying. Polish each pearl. See, I think I'll go ahead and do... We'll assist with sprawling surroundings. The three pearls are undoubtedly our greatest and sincerest pride. Brilliant, radiant cities that serve as glowing and continuous examples of economic prosperity. Guangdong's prowess in the sphere. However, the cities certainly have issues. A poorly planned and maintained residential urban sprawl that's been allowed to spread millions of citizens and workers, though not exactly a liabilities of pride's living space for men serving to the industry, certainly need assistance to prevent the brewing of discontent. Shimamoko Katashi stood upon one of the docks at Port Shore, preparing to board a ferry back to Helm Islands, tickets already in hand. He had the opportunity to visit each of famed three pearls due to a business trip, his experience forever ingrained to his mind. He called the day he stepped out the ferry into the pavements of Koshu. Dark plumes of smoke could be spotted in the distance, emanating from hundreds of factories which dotted Koshu's perimeters. He had the chance to set his eyes upon the interior of a manufacturing plant, the back-breaking toil of Chinese workers, and long hours, which he was told of, shocked him. The insane profits which the factories could generate he could effectively not comprehend. Surely it was a miracle of sheer efficiency, something which created unimaginable quantities of wealth. The crowded streets of Little Macau were drastically different. Here, instead of high-rises and production units, casinos and gambling houses dominated the area, raking in fortunes from unlucky men who could not win the favor of goddess Fortuna. The incessant gambling in every corner of the compact city made an impression upon Shimamoto. Vast amounts of cash and assets being lost in every dice roll and spin of roulette were making him wonder how much the beneficiaries must possess, an empire built upon the lure of chance. Hong Kong was less sensational, row upon row of tower complexes, housing businesses related to finance and accounting, skyline dominated by banks and white-collar firms. Still, one must wonder how much wealth flows through the very veins of a city, a marvel of economics and commerce. As a ferry sounded its horn, signaling for boarding, Shimamoto took one last glance at the people and buildings of a strange land, a place he would remember deeply. Farewell. Hitachi's influence on the Leadership Council is no longer a direct threat. Motherfucker. That smug asshole. The Western insurrection only growing more deadly, reports of refugees have become a constant element to Matsushita Matsuharu's daily briefings. A mass of tent cities rose on practically every major road in Guangdong By his government's estimation, some 3,000 illegals had entered the nation just last month. Clearly, a refugee policy would be needed in the short term. And the question of who to accept was murky. For chief executive, it pitted two long-held industrial maxims against each other, quantity versus quality. On the other hand, most refugees were completely unskilled farmers and day laborers that could do little for local industry that could not be done by the average citizen. Policy which limited new arrivals to only educated specialists may provide the best quality, require some expenses to maintain a largely closed border, but for that cost, Guangdong could extract the best of China while maintaining a limited effective population. On the other hand, Guangdong was always needed a share of labor. Refugees would not only make for acceptable factory workers, but they would likely accept low pay and provisions without hesitation. After all, they were, by definition, low on options. For the cost of their housing and nourishment, an open-door policy could keep the factory staffed for years without any direct need for direct recruitment. Soon, HoI called upon his secretary. His decision had been made. What do we think? Quantity or quality? Quantity or quality? Peculiar way to talk about refugees, but we'll go with it. Quality, I'd say, like wearing true. We'll do quality. Colonel Miyazaki sat alone in his office, watching the flakes of dust waltz in the sunbeam's warm embrace. Silent like death, the office's only ambiance to nourish himself was the unrepentant regularity of a clock. A note, its kanji pock-marketed with scrawled lines and unjointed characters, was enough an indicator of certainty. Hitachi went too far. Shut it down. Nagano. As Miyazaki coalesced his thoughts together, he thought back on the events of the last few months, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. Every loosely remembered thread, every burnt frame lurking behind his retinas, every hint and clue, it all came back to one thing. Arrogance. Hitachi had become too proud, too smug in its inevitability of its victory, that he thought they could act with such brazen force. Sighing, he looked down at his manila folder, marked with hundreds, not thousands of names, of those who could be implicated in the scandal. The first had a simple cross or tick next to it, with the latter being a sign of their lack of complicity in the plot. Or at least no proven complicity. The former, a shrill ringing shattered in its melancholic bass as the telephone rang, picking up a string of babbling and stutters erupted into Miyazaki's ear. Enough, he spoke, silencing the man on the other line. You want to lose your job? No, I thought not. Get Lieutenant Hayakawa in to dismiss everyone at Hoshu Hakun. He has the authority. Say it's an order straight from the top, if necessary. Everyone there is going to very politely apologize to the airport staff for the hassle and pack their things as quietly and as non-disruptive as possible. But Colonel, what do we say to Hitachi Manchuria? They aren't going to take our withdrawal lightly. Hitachi has bigger concerns right now than a few planes. Get it done. Look at that. Kenpai Tai got Kenpai fucked. And on that note, we're leaving it there. Thanks for watching, gang. Like if you like, dislike if you didn't. Leave me comments, feedback down in the comment section below. Check us for links down in the description box below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.